Good morning to all my fellow sports fans. Welcome back to the Best of Seven Sports Talk Radio with Seven Mitchell. I am your host, as always, the kid Seven Mitchell. Appreciate y'all calling up. Memorial Day is finally here. Monday morning, we got a lot to talk about in the sports world. So callers, make sure that y'all call up 347-989-8102. Press that one button if you want to go on live. Speaking of the NBA, J.O., over the weekend, I had read an article about the future NBA player JAHLIL Okafor coming out of Duke, the freshman who won the national championship with Duke. It was stated that he asked the Timberwolves, who has the number one pick, not to draft him because he wants to play for LA, who has the number 2 pick. We talked a little bit. I'm not sure if it was on this show or if it was on the Friday Night Lights. We talked about NBA draft this year and how there wasn't like a bunch of superstars coming out. So, we really wouldn't be surprised to see maybe 1 or 2 of the lottery picks traded, from the teams. What's your thoughts, J.O., in your opinion about draftees coming out of college kind of making the decisions of where they go? Like, do you agree, or do you feel like the NBA is a privilege and whoever picked you up, that's where you need to be? What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm so happy you asked me about this because I am a Duke fan, and of course I follow college basketball. And then so I follow Okafor pretty well. In terms of him, I want to say sabotage in a light way. The way he's going to Minnesota. I mean, you gotta think like this. First of all, of course you're gonna get drafted. You're gonna make your money. Then you got to think about where you're gonna reside at. You got to think about the marketing. You got to think, if you go to LA, you got to think guys like Denzel and Chris Rock and Hollywood coming to see you. You already a focal point. All eyes on you. So he thinking in terms, I can be like how Shaq was. You know what I'm saying? I can be the next Kazam or something. Shaq too, but so you got to think in the kid's mind is like, okay, I'm basically going to be playing in this city guaranteed for the next 4 years. So I want to play here for the 4 years unhappy. You got to think Minnesota, they got to make a decision. Do they want Okafor or they want Karl Anthony Towns, who's in a lot of GM number 1 pick. So, but I'm hearing sources that Minnesota is actually leaning towards Okafor. So if I'm Minnesota, I don't know if I want to draft a player that has no desire to play for my organization. I don't know if he's going to give me 100% each game, although you may feel he's the best player. Now, if you feel like he's head and shoulders the best player like you had when LeBron came out and other players, then you may still want to draft him and worry about trading him down the line. But it's definitely a thin line. It's definitely a slippery slope.
I pretty much agree with you on all the points that you made, real valid points. The only thing that I would say that I disagree with, not just as far as your point of view, but just period, I don't feel like NBA draftees should have the same options and the same privileges as an NBA free agent. Now, I totally understand what you were saying. He's looking at it big picture-wise, being set up in LA, that sets himself up, for the next few years, potentially for the rest of his life. And we compared, Shaquille O'Neal. But, Shaquille O'Neal had put work in Orlando before he went to, LA. So he put work in, and then he was able as a free agent to make a decision on, where he go and where he want to spend, for the most part, the rest of your career. So I think that's probably one of the best advantages about free agency is the option to make the moves depending upon who wants you, depending upon, how much work you put in the season before or seasons prior, you're able to, have some type of resume or some type of backing with what you say. Now, Okafor, he does have a national championship. He's a problem, I'm saying, on the court. I'm not taking nothing away from him, but I just don't feel like unless you are like a LeBron James, somebody coming out of high school or somebody like that's unreal. Like, I don't feel like you should have any type of control over where you go unless there's some type of like medical circumstance where as though you might need to play in a certain city because of, certain types of reasons like that. But I don't want to see players coming out of college, determining where they go.
He's going to be a brand, and he's been considered like the best big man to come out of college since a very long time. So it's not like when Anthony Bennett was drafted number 1, something like that. I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with those 2 points. My thing is, though, regardless, it doesn't make a difference. The Lakers nor Okafor is bigger than the brand. The team, the franchise, or the player, neither one is bigger than the league. The league has a potential to have scrutiny and to not be as solid as they are when you allowing kids coming out of college and high school determining where they play. Like, that changes the game. It helps out the Lakers, it helps out the players, but it's a bad look for the future coming into the NBA, and I think it hurts the brand, and nothing is bigger than the brand.
Well, ultimately, Minnesota is going to have the final say. I just think this situation is a lot more unique in other situations because you have another player in town who, by a lot of accounts, that he's actually the number 1 player on the board. A lot of scouts and GMs have him number 1 on the board. So it's kind of like 2 even players. That's why Okafor feel like he maybe can persuade Minnesota not to draft him. Now, like, if this, like you said, if this was like LeBron and the second best player is Luol Deng, then Luol, if LeBron don't have no leverage because he don't have a player that's in comparison with him, as if like if LeBron came out of college and you have Kobe come out of college, then you might, those 2 top players, you might, and Kobe might say, look, I don't want to be number 1. LeBron is as good as me, da-da-da-da-da. And that's a situation with Okafor because a lot of teams have them equal. You know what I mean? So it's just a little unique because you have two big men that's in consensus, the top 2 players, and they're going to go 1 and 2. So that's
this particular situation is definitely unique because you do have 2 teams. The 2 of the top players are similar, so it kind of works out for either team. But the only good thing is that the Timberwolves were not publicly making a statement that they wanted. Timberwolves were out here making public statements that they were really interested in picking up Okafor, and he made that statement. I don't care how many good players is damn near on the same level. I just don't feel like going in, you should have any type of say of, making those type of statements or where you going to go. I mean, we all know it, and the Lakers had a terrible season last year, but anybody and their mama would pick LA over Minnesota. We all know that. We also know that Minnesota got the first pick. So I just feel like as a kid coming out of college, you need to fall back. Put your work in.
Yeah, I mean,
put your work in for those 2-3 years. Then you get to decide where you go at. Because if you let the rookies do this, Jo, what's the benefit of free agency other than just the check?
Well, I mean,
appreciate everybody locking in this morning. Again, happy Memorial Day to everybody, all your family and friends. Sports is going down tonight. Game 4, Steph Curry, James Harden, Golden State versus Houston, Western Conference Finals. Golden State trying to go ahead and seal a deal, going to the NBA Finals. Yeah,
Yes,
we're going to
sir.
be back at it on Wednesday morning, 9 o'clock a.m. back here on the Best of 7. So y'all make sure y'all join us. Y'all stay safe until then, man. We out of here.